and the holidays are upon us, so I am here today to give you a staple cookie recipe that is very delicious and indulgent to help satisfy your sweet tooth without busting all your macros. So tonight I'm going to make for you a triple chocolate cookie. Let's get started. The great thing about this recipe is, like I usually do, I throw it all in a bowl, mix it up and cook it, and it's that simple. So what I'm going to use tonight, because we're doing triple chocolate, the MTS Whey in chocolate. Go to Tiger Fitness, get yours there, use my discount code. We're going to throw 1 full scoop into a bowl. And while you're mixing up all your ingredients, you're going to want to get your oven set to 350 degrees. All right, next thing we're going to add is some coconut flour. I'm going to measure this out. So we're going to use 28 grams, which is about 4 tablespoons, but I do recommend measuring it because the weight of it will be considerably different than if you measure it out in your tablespoon. So 28 grams of this. This is going to add some fiber to our cookies as well. And having some coconut flour on hand is awesome for baking. I use it in a lot of my recipes, as you guys have noticed. It adds that nice sweetness. We're also going to use oat flour, and I'm going to go ahead and measure out 1/2 cup of this. I'm actually not going to weigh that. All right. So 1/2 cup of your oat flour. If you don't have, I am using actual organic oat flour. If you don't have that, go ahead and if you have some oats, you can throw those in a blender, mix them up. It'll work just fine. All right, next up, I am going to use the Hershey's Cocoa Special Dark. We're gonna add 1/3 of a cup of that. Special Dark is gonna give it that real rich chocolatey flavor that we want. Okay, so 1/3 cup of this. All right, now to make our cookies rise so they're not flat like pancakes, we're going to use baking powder, 1 full teaspoon. Okay. And to sweeten it, you guys could actually not even add any sweetener in this recipe. If you like a plainer cookie, you are going to get a little sweetness from the applesauce, but I like my Splenda, so I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of Splenda. I like things real sweet, but again, taste it before you put it in the oven and see how sweet you like it if you need to add a little bit more. All right, next up we're going to add some, I use the unsweetened applesauce, however it still does add a little sweetness to your cookies, and I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of our applesauce. Okay, last thing we've got here is 1 whole egg. All right, got everything in there. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. I did bring out some almond milk to have on hand. If you can get in here and see this. The batter for this is going to be very dry. I'm mixing it up right now with a wire whisk, but in a couple minutes I'm just going to get in there with my hands and really mix it up. It's going to stay a nice, dense, thick batter. But if you need to, if you can't get it to form enough, you can add just like a tablespoon of almond milk at a time. I wouldn't do much more than that though. You want your cookies to be nice and dense. Okay, so I did add just a little bit, probably about a tablespoon of almond milk to my dough, but you're gonna see it makes a very dense, big ball of cookie dough batter right there. So what I'm gonna do now is I like to use a tablespoon so that I can evenly kind of portion them out on our baking sheet here. And this recipe does make 12 cookies, so I'm gonna get these all on the tray. And then we're gonna add some dark chocolate chips to those. This one gets a little messy. So I've put all 12 on here. I'm just gonna flatten these out a little bit because they won't on their own while you bake them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flatten these all out before we add our chocolate chips to them. So now I had measured out 1 tablespoon of the little mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. You can use whatever kind of chocolate chips you want. I just happen to have these on hand. And you're just gonna wanna take like a little handful of them and just kind of push them into the top of your cookie. I like doing them on the top because number one, presentation, they look a little nicer, and it's kind of nice to have that flavor right on top of the cookie. So once you do that, you're gonna go ahead and put these guys in the oven, bake at 350 degrees, and I would only bake them for about 8 minutes. 8 to 10 minutes is all they're gonna need. So I'll show you what they look like when they're all done. All right guys, so the cookies took 8 minutes in the oven. Look how sexual those look. Nice and chocolatey. You'd have no idea they were healthy. These end up being less than 60 calories per cookie, so that's pretty titties. These taste delicious. I love the texture they get to them. They're not like a typical cookie. They get like just a little light crispness on the outside, and then they're nice and chewy in the middle. Very rich and decadent. These are my triple chocolate cookies. I hope you guys check them out and like them. Don't forget to go sub over on my channel, Carolee83. Use my Tiger Fitness discount code Cara for 5% off your purchase, and I'll see you next week.